And the reality is that is for both. If you look at scenario 4 and 5, you have that time at the end of the day.
But that doesn't address, I'm sorry, but my question about how much the STEM lab costs, how much the e-learning, are our computers even capable of the Chromebooks of doing that? How much more infrastructure is that going to take for us to improve our technology to be able to provide these things? I mean, I want people to know that there's going to be money, there's going to be costs associated with this. This isn't...
So one step at a time.
Yes.
So curriculum review is minimal cost, or it's already budgeted for, or no cost. The articulation, that's just time and effort based on our part. There's literally no cost to articulate and make sure that you're aligning with the high school curriculum. In fact, they're actually supporting us in this endeavor, and they're actually leading the way to make sure that they've dedicated someone to us so that we can make sure that that actually aligns. So if you couple that with the curriculum review and the transition time at the end of the day, they're going to be able to meet that expectation. Okay. The e-learning, this is something that it doesn't have to be next year. It doesn't have to be the following year. It's going to take some planning before we get into that and get into a position where we can actually provide the e-learning. The good thing is you have netbooks. The good thing is you have bandwidth. The good thing is you have Wi-Fi. So for example, we currently take the MAP assessment online, which is actually housed it was not housed in our actual servers. It's housed in an outside system. Same could be said for Ames Web. So it's literally a small cost for us to access those assessments. I'm imagining for e-learning, that's something that we could work on either with the high school, we could work on with the university, or in some cases you could actually have it where the parent pays for the class. So there are kids right now that take classes that are e-learning that are no cost to the district because it's the responsibility of the parent to provide. AP is a perfect example. There are a lot of kids now that are taking AP courses that are online. They could take it in Illinois, they could take it outside the state of Illinois, Georgia, Florida, and we have a virtual learning school through Illinois. It's actually provided. So there are quite a few classes that you can take.
And if you take AP at the high school, you as a parent have to pay for that.
Okay. Extension of the world language program, we already have 4 teachers on staff. So it's just a matter of scheduling with our teachers and making sure that we're able to maneuver throughout the system.
And purchasing the curriculum, the books, or anything of that nature that goes along with, correct?
It could be purchasing, or we can create our own. But my expectation would be that whatever curriculum we create, that we work with the high school, make sure there's alignment. Right now, we currently invested in our 7th and 8th grade program. I'm as sure as I am sitting here that between the 4 teachers that we have, the 3 at this point in time, they can create a curriculum that's viable for our kids. Okay? The gifted program, that's more or less coordination within our schools and each of our teams. So we would leave that up to them. There's no cost with that. That's just an expectation. It's a climate and culture. It's setting the tone. ELL, that's a requirement of the state. You have no choice. You have to provide. For example, you have to provide a Polish-speaking ELL teacher because you've met a specific number that the state now requires us to go in that direction. Right? But you already have an ELL teacher. What's going to happen is you're going to post for the ELL Polish speaker, and that'll be a requirement. So you have no choice. Consolidation of services, that's a plus for us because we're not spending any money whatsoever. So that's a shared service. So they're providing the director's going to work with us. The only thing that we're committed to do is time. We have to provide time. Okay. World language program, I just spoke to that a second ago. And I put in the context of there's 2 ways to invest for your child, right? There's the front end and the back end. You may pay a little more for a world language program, but as a parent, if your child no longer has to take AP at the university, we know that universities are very, very expensive. And if you can have on your transcripts that AP class for Spanish, you don't have to pay that. So that's an investment long term. So I don't see that as a cost that's going to be negatively viewed. And again, we already have the teachers in that program. Author adoption, one of the things we talked about is working. And this is actually a program that you had before. We just want to rejuvenate it. The PTA and the STEP actually provide this program. They did it in the past. So what we do is we look to our STEP and PTA, form a partnership with them in the Eisenhower Library. We'd have authors come on site. High school already does something similar to this. Yep. They already do it.
The cultural
Lit Fest. They already do it. It's already in place. So we just more or less modify and piggyback off of what they're currently doing. Special education, I got news for you. It's actually been a savings because we're bringing more and more kids back. So it used to be where you had kids that were being exited to a third service. That's not the case anymore. In fact, we've actually decreased our number of aides. And the board is committed to that. That's one of the things that we've agreed to, is that it's far better, especially kids with special needs that are very complex, in some cases very complex. We felt it was best to invest in teachers to provide that service. And not only that, for special ed, it actually helps kids in Tier 3, kids that are struggling in math or in reading or in language arts. So that's a cost you're already incurring. And I think over time, as you build capacity, you're going to have savings. And these are all, if you look at all these, the continuity of instruction is really, that's just a commitment to a relationship of trust with your team. So you're going to be able to build the continuity with the trust with your team, as well as the high school. It just depends. You got to have the discussions. Curriculum standards, state expectation. There's not much we can do about that. So we have to align our standards. We have no choice. You're required to take the park. Just to give you an idea, and the park is paid for by the state. It's actually, we never see the actual transition, but they pay on our behalf. Competency-based learning program, we're already working on that. That's what you spoke to. That's what the RGen program from the high school. And then continuous improvement practices, no math problem left behind. And what we do is we work with our teachers, and our teachers will support kids at the end of the day. We've already started a program similar to that at Giles, where we have kids at the end of the day where they're being supported. So right now it's no cost. And then these are the two maps.
So in summary, more alike to what we're doing at the moment, right? Would you say plus or minus?
With our budget, within our budgetary constraints? Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Answer my question. That's all I need to know.
Right. This is a budgetary decision. So everything I put here is based on being neutral within our budget, being very close to the budget, if not less.
But this is what we have at the moment.
Exactly.
There's
nothing.
That's what we have. Okay.
Right. There's nothing. We're not at that point in time yet.
We're not doing anything.
Right. But that's what
At an
Cindy's
extra
point.
level.
We had to stop it with the STEM. We had to stop the curriculum
Okay.
review cycle with the STEM because we're at a point in time right now where we're going to have to talk about purchasing textbooks and materials and resources.
So more costs will be involved in the future.
More costs could be incurred, or we could just reallocate some of our budget to make sure that we're able to offset that cost.
Okay.
That would be my expectation.
Any other questions on the board?
Okay. I'm going to sit down.
Anything on your list?
Tim Luxton.
Some of you have heard me talk before. I'm really going to try to stay on point to this meeting. I'll save the rest for next week. It's kind of a rough spot, isn't it? As furious as you want to be, get upset as you are. Grade centers that have been presented 3, 4, 5 times over the years, all in one huge plan to be forced and things decided in 3 months. End of the school year is coming up. Teachers need to be notified. As I said last meeting, no plan. A 6-year plan to redo our curriculum that is already failing the junior high kids moving into Ridgewood. We don't have 6 years. Since the beginning of the year, all the stuff with the building. The buildings are not safe, we were told. The scare tactics with the buildings to push us towards a super school not being addressed going to grade centers. Whether you'll ask them or not, being here tonight, how many people have questions on this changeover? Please raise your hand. I'm not asking you to ask questions. I'm saying who has questions off of what was said tonight? Tons of questions. Not a 1-question limit. Not a town hall of this is this, this is that. The parents are getting involved now. and even board members that in past meetings have not opened their mouth, they're even starting to question this. They're realizing themselves what is done and what is at stake. So staying on this, don't be fooled. Read into everything. Contact Dr. O'Malley in between. Please send him the emails. Get the answers you want. This is a last-ditch effort pushing to the grade centers that has not been fully planned out, not planned for years ahead, not planned for upgrades of the schools. Again, I love sports. I think they're a great part. Going into grade centers, 14 kids on an 8th grade basketball team. 14 kids on a 7th grade basketball team. You've now doubled the enrollment of that junior high. Just saying, look at the numbers. Yes, I'm for it. We do have other sports in the area. Another question is, has this board, in this past year, with the financial difficulty, looked into any other aspects of funding? The answer is no, because they haven't brought anything up. Their answer was a huge tax increase. That got shot down. Now the answer is grade schools. Again, increasing class sizes, which I haven't found any study to prove that increasing class sizes benefits education. I'm not going to slam anybody here today, but as people are getting involved, realize the speed at which this is being done. Please ask your questions. Call, email. I don't want you to be fooled, because all that's being fooled is the overall education of your kids. Please pay attention to it. Ask the questions. I'm scared. There is no 6 years to fix this. If this is a 6-year plan for your curriculum, what about next year's 8th grade class? And the following year's 8th grade class? Are there people in here that moved to a different community and saw their kids go through a change of school? Very possibly. I know I'm getting on my time limit, Serbo, so I'll keep it short. Plain and simple. You're changing the kids. Specifically where it's going to hit is junior high kids. A lot of them are multi-generation. They don't want change. These Lee Tigers that have their parents on the wall, the trophies in the case. My son that's a freshman at Ridgewood is completely upset. What he worked his butt off for, he wants me to take the trophy out of the trophy case and burn it. Says it means nothing. It means nothing. The issue with it is you're jamming him into a new school in junior high. A new building, a new life, a new schedule, new teachers.
You, Tim.
Me too. This is what's been created in the community. My point is now that you're all here. Now that you're all here.
Let's not go there. Let's not go what's been created. How about your son?
Oh, please bring it up.
So don't say what's been created. I'm not gonna. Don't talk about the community. Stand here with your smile on your face.
All I was asking with it was please pay attention as we have more people attending the meetings. Please don't be afraid to ask questions. It's not just my decision. It's not just their decision. Be part of it.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry, Ken, if you have anything else, please go. Please finish.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Like I said, I was going to stay on this. We have another meeting coming up.
No money from the federal government. You have already looked into that. Okay, right now with the secretary that he has put in there right now, she is not going to be giving us any money. If we're lucky, she'll just give the money to the state. But in that case, the state is not giving us any money. They haven't had a budget for 2.5 years. And they still don't have a budget. They're not going to do anything from that. So we're not getting any money from there.
Dr. O'Malley made that clear beginning
Okay, well then where else are we looking to get money from?
Google it.
Well, you got the answer. Google it. Where do you find it?
I actually have a list of sources that, given the right time, will be brought up.
Thank you.
And if you have questions, you can send it to Ask Dr. O'Malley. It's on the website. Please, we respond to everybody that has submitted questions. Kim, you had actually submitted a few one time, and I spoke to you. So